One of the greatest challenges that companies are seeing now, especially at entry level or hourly roles, is that there's been a pretty significant increase in the cost of hiring. And this is different than what we typically think of when we consider cost of labor or cost of living, even. But it is a new type of data that we are able to show you by pulling job postings that have the specific salary range information included. This is something that we can do, especially with the help of states like Colorado and Connecticut, which have passed laws that require companies that are hiring in those states to include the hiring ranges. And what we can do is really kind of start to track what companies are willing to pay. And that's different than what companies are paying. But if we think of what companies are willing to pay, that is a leading indicator for what could be compression or really challenging roles to fill, especially when you see relatively significant growth over time. That's not going to be necessarily captured by your salary surveys. So to address the question of, what are companies doing? How are you addressing this? I think really we have to understand what's happening first. And if we take a look here, what I've done is I've run a report on cashiers. So we've got 37,502 examples of cashiers in the U.S., tracking back to March of 2021, where we saw that their average rate of pay was around $25,000 per year. But if we continue to look at how that's grown year over year, or month over month rather, we are seeing a relatively steady but significant increase in the cost to hire. And so if we go back from March 2021, where we had around $25,000 per year, and now what we're seeing is around $28,000 per year, that's a greater than 10% increase, which is significant. And it's not just exclusive to cashiers. We can look at baristas. So Starbucks, I read an article not too long ago, they were increasing their wages for baristas because those are becoming harder to hire. And again, we see a very similar trend line where in March, the average hiring salary was $26,536, whereas in November this year, it's close to $29,700. Again, that's another close to 10% increase that we're seeing. Another one we can look at is actually recruiters. So it's not just frontline workers. Recruiters have also had a very significant increase. And we have enough data in here. I mean, almost 14,000 data points for recruiters, 8,000 data points for baristas, and this is excluding barista managers and supervisors. And then the same for cashiers. We've got the sample size that really shows that this growth is occurring. And even though it may not be captured in your salary surveys, I think as an organization, we have to kind of acknowledge that there is a new kind of data out there, and that's the cost to hire, which we really have to consider when we are going out and making sure that we are, as a company, staying competitive. I know that typically as a comp practitioner, we don't necessarily want to put a whole lot of weight into cost of living because that is agnostic of cost of labor. Those oftentimes go hand in hand, but they don't always. But I think that if we look at cost to hire, that's what it's going to actually take for your organization to recruit and retain talent right now. And if we ignore what's happening in the market, it's going to put us at a much less competitive stance. So I hope this helps to address the question that you had. And if you have any other questions, reach out. Thanks so much.